Hi everyone, I am Dr. Hang Ding from IU South Bend and I am teaching programming with Go. This is our first lecture on topic 1.2 flow control statements. This topic has two parts and this lecture will cover the first part, which is about loop in Golang. For the topic 1.2, please read the following materials. The first one is a Go document, which is part of a tour of Go, and that part focuses on flow control statements for if, else, switch, and defer. And this is the link of that part of a tour of Go. You should also read Chapter 1 tutorial and Section 5.8 deferred function calls from the textbook by Donovan and Kernigans. When you read Chapter 1, please focus on Sections 1.2, which introduces the for loop, and Section 1.3, which introduces the if statement, and Section 1.8, which introduces a switch, a break, and continue statement. Now let's start discussing loop in Go. Recall that if you have learned C, C++, or Java, you know that each of those languages has three looping constructs, including the while loop, the do-while loop, and the for loop. Go has only one looping construct, which is the for loop. The basic for loop in Go has three components separated by semicolons. The first component is the init statement. The init statement will often be a short variable declaration, and the variables declared in this init statement are visible only in the scope of the for statement. So this init statement is executed before the first iteration of the loop. The second component is the condition expression, which is evaluated before every iteration. The loop will stop iterating once the Boolean condition evaluates to false. And the last component is the post statement, which is executed at the end of every iteration, just like in the for loop in C, C++, and Java. Also, note that the init statement and the post statement are optional. That means that you can omit them, as in the second example of the for loop here. Okay. Also note that unlike other languages like C, Java, or JavaScript, there are no parentheses surrounding the three components of the for statement, and the brackets or the braces are always required. So in Java or C or C++, you don't need the braces if you have only one statement in the loop body like this one. But in Go, the braces are always required, but you don't need the parentheses around the three components of the for the for loop construct. And so this program has two for loops. Okay, so in the first one, we try to add the sum of all number from 0 to 9. So the init statement here is I equals 0, and this is the short declaration, so it's also declared the variable I, and the variable I in this case is only available within this for loop. Okay? And the condition to continue the loop is when I is less than 10, and the post statement is I plus plus, and the loop body is to add the variable I to the variable sum. Of course, so the loop body will be executed before the post statement. In the second example, we omit the init statement, but so we still assign sum equal 1 before the for loop, so that's not part of the for loop. And so then we check if the sum is less than 1000, then we add sum, the current value of sum to sum, so just the same as double the value of sum. And so the post statement is nothing, so we don't do anything after adding sum to the variable sum. And finally we print out the variable sum. Let's recap important facts about the for loop. First, the init statement is often a short variable declaration, and such a variable is visible only in the scope of the for statement. So in this for loop, we declare variable I in the init statement and initialize it to 0. So this variable I is only available within this for loop. So what happened when we try to use it outside of the for loop? For example, we try to print it out after the for loop, then it will cause an error because the compiler will think that this variable I is declared inside the function main or outside of the function main, but not within the for loop, and there's no such a variable I, and so that's why it will have an error such as undefined variable. The second factor is that the loop keeps iterating as long as the loop condition evaluates to true. So in this for loop, the condition is I is less than 10. So whenever I is less than 10, it will execute the loop body, which is adding I to the variable sum. And then after that, it will increase the variable I. When I is equal to 10, then it will stop. That means that it will not execute the loop body and the post statement. So when this for loop terminates, the value of the variable I would be equal to 10. And the variable sum is equal to the sum of all numbers from 0 to 9. And lastly, the braces in the for loops are always required. So even if you have only one statement in the loop body, you still have to put it in between a pair of open brace and close brace like this one. Although Go doesn't have a while loop, you can essentially write a while loop in Go with a for loop by omitting both the init statement and the post statement from the for loop. When both the init statement and the post statement are omitted, you can also drop the semicolons as in this example. So here we only have the loop condition, which is sum is less than 1000, And so we don't have any init statement and no post statement, and we still have the loop body as usual. So this one is the same as writing while sum is less than 1000, add sum to sum. So the while loop in C or Java is essentially spelled as for in Go. Also, if you omit the loop condition, then it will loop forever. So an infinite loop is compactly expressed like this one. Okay, so you can still have an infinite loop with non-empty loop body. In this example, we just happen to have an empty loop body, but you can also have the non-empty loop body in an infinite loop. And of course, in most program, we don't want an infinite loop because we don't want the program to run forever. However, there are some circumstances where you want an infinite loop. For example, if you run a server 24 hours per day, 7 days a week, so in that case, you may want an infinite loop. And you can also have some other infinite loop, but you have some mechanism to break from the loop by using the break or some other statement. The execution of a loop can be altered by a break or continue statement in the loop body. In general, the break and continue statements modify the flow of control. A break statement causes control to resume at the next statement after the innermost for statement. It is also used in the switch statement and the select statement, which we will see later. A continuous statement causes the innermost for loop to start its next iteration. So in those cases, the break and continue statements in Go work the same as those in C, C++, and Java. In Golang, statements may be also labeled so that break and continue can refer to them. For instance, to break out of several nested loops at once, or to start the next iteration of the outermost loop. A meaningful example to demonstrate the use of the break and continue statements would require a conditional statement, such as the if statement or switch statement. That will be covered in the second part of topic 1.2.